Synopsis: Universe is all a game of subtle atoms with finite number of existing atoms and molecules, and their permutation and combination. A single entity of the combination possesses everything like the whole. Mind, the synthesis of forces, leads to creation through satiation of its instincts, drawing gradually matter from universal form and manifesting the form I. With death or change of state, it changes into another form. All the sensibilities combined is consciousness. If oxygen gives life, all the vegetables, fish, etc. are alive. Scriptural explanations, guided by our egoism, create all the confusion. There is no place for imagination in it. This earth speeds along with a certain percentage of water and other ingredients according to the requirement. Water exists in us like in everything else. Again, water comes down in rainfall. Water exists in hills and mountains without any loss or gain. In the universe too, a certain quantity of water is present, life and everything else exist too. Atoms and molecules in the universe neither increase nor decrease. New books and literature are created using the same 26 alphabets, which never vary in number, no matter how many new books are composed. Similarly, in the universe too, existing atoms and molecules are finite in number. Combination of these by permutation and combination gives rise to various shapes and forms in the universe. All the forms and beauties in the universe are expressed through atoms and molecules. Take for example, a beautiful flower. If the ingredients of this flower are analyzed and studied, it will be seen that various different elements have been used. No matter how many different aspects of analysis are applied to the ingredients of the flower, a single item of the constituents will still require a host of many more analyses. This flower has bloomed following a particular formula, which has endowed it with a special fragrance, differing tastes, and various grades of sweet and acrid tastes. Even the tastes are so varied. In this universe, it is all a game of subtle atoms. So the universe itself is the soul. The combination of subtle atoms is defined as the soul. A single atom of this combination is again a member of atoms and molecules of the universe, thus a single entity of the combination possesses everything like the whole. Here lies the mystery. The mystery of the universe will unfold itself to some extent, if we take the subject that a single item of the division contains the same objects. The percentage may differ, but all the ingredients exist therein. We cannot find the limit of this mystery, as everything combined together makes one. Again, one remains in everything, characteristic quality, mind, sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, conscience, and intellect exist. One day we were just tiny specks that needed a microscope to spot it. It was in blood, and before that, it was in food, water, air, and fire in various conditions. Air, water, fire are not single units, but the result of infinite combination and mixing. One atom combines with another, and in this way, going through a process of successive mixing and blending, gradually enters the creative part of the creator following a certain formula. The mind is worked up in the atoms impelled by the action of the brain. Again, another atom develops from the mind. In this give and take process, the desire for appeasement of the longing arises in the external mood of the sense organs. The mind, too, begins to move in that fashion. The mind, as a result of synthesis of forces, leads to creation through the appeasement of its instinct. Tiny atoms of creation ejecting in the final stage enter into another pot, mix, and blend with relevant atoms, forming the creative nucleus. That cell nucleus, drawing gradually matter from the universal form, manifests the form I. Subsequently, in varying conditions, relevant atoms and molecules of related constituents make up for growing in light, air, and water that develop into, say, a 80 kilograms body mass. So it appears that the very same sense organs, mind, instinct, etc., were already there. Gradually influenced by the surrounding atmosphere, it matured. Of course, it was already in a matured state. The infinitesimal embryo followed its state, myriads of microbes listened to, according to their attainment. So it appears that the subtle atom exists in our blood, in every cell, and in every sense organ as it exists in others. Our sense of awareness is not just about major senses like sight or touch. Even the smallest, softest feelings can make us truly aware. Where did this consciousness come from? It hardly matters which one works on hands, which works on nails. Sense may be there, as long as you feel it. Consciousness exists in the moustache as well. It exists everywhere. Conscious objects in their consciousness can sense the consciousness. Thus, when this physical body will be no more, it may be termed as a state of death, or changing to another form. It takes a different form, whether it is buried or consigned to flames. If it is buried in earth, it will be reduced to the form of earth. Similarly, in other cases too, entities of subtle atoms of I still exist in those individual medias. Not only that, let's just think of a single petal of a flower. Whatever is there in the part of our body also exists in the petals. The proof lies in all of us. Consciousness itself realizes that state. The combination of all the sensibilities is consciousness. Everything whatever is happening in the universe is a manifestation of power. Someone is brilliant, another is dull, one is exceptionally good, while the other is wicked, one is lucky, the other is not. These are only worldly appellations, nevertheless everyone is embellished with the same universal power. Worldly scriptural experts try to explain these differences in attainments, ascribing them to merits, or demerits, earned in previous births, or some such things. But terms like previous birth, or afterlife etc., cannot be taken as sufficient proof. In reality, however, everything is going on in conformity with the universal law in differing ways and courses, thus everyone is greatly progressing spiritually in the universal path of advancement. He is great, because he is advancing in the path of progress, practicing those already attained. This is reflected only in his work. It matters little whether our society likes it or not. The universal is not affected by our views, because everything is going on to suit the individual's needs. It comes to the same thing whether we try to cultivate the practice of happiness or misery. So many ancillary conditions crop up. In those atoms of joy or delight, all the rest of sensibilities exist. In fact, the clear knowledge we get from the truth of creation is that whatever mental culture we are pursuing devolves on the very same theme. Scriptural injunctions make us drift away from the main theme, thus creating various types of anomaly like previous birth, next birth etc., and thus creating confusion. It is said that the Vedas are words of God for the welfare and knowledge of the sentient beings. When he is so kind, why did he take the trouble of covering his words divided into 4 Vedas? Why should he labor so hard when he was omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent and possessed supreme power? He could have easily etched out a message that he existed, with a stroke of his willpower. Then there would not have been the necessity for so many injunctions, and so many teachers to explain them. Everyone would have been engrossed in meditation out of one's own necessity. However, we are locked in a dilemma about his existence. Spiritual teachers, too, show lack of confidence in their faith, and try to brush it off with stock words. How did these Vedantas come into existence? We come to know from them that we have come here out of some natural law, and from that we understand that these rules are following certain laws. It is said that bathing in the sea, or in the Ganges, adds virtue and salvation. Does it mean that the kingfishers, or hilsa fish, would get nirvana? Fishes of the sea and the sentient beings of the land are all in the same condition. We eat fish and fish eat us, thus the friendship is similar. Fishes of the sea and those of the pond are similar in their activities, though their movement may be different due to the difference in water. We mix all the fishes, give some to dogs, some for gods or goddesses' food offering. One should remember that life couldn't survive consuming inanimate objects. Is it possible for a conscious object to live on inanimate objects? If air gives life, then vegetables, fish etc. are all alive. Flowers do not exist everywhere, water is there and flowers too. If there is no water, the flower withers away. If it dries further, it merges with air, water, earth, heat, and the void. Are these inanimate objects? Forms that have come into existence by innumerable combinations of conscious objects, which are already existing in the great void, will exist and continue as ever. Motion is still going on in us and in the universal panorama, the product of these innumerable combinations of those conscious elements. The brain and senses are manifesting their wonderful functions. All those sight, hearing, smelling power etc., and all those consciousness of the senses, innumerable combinations of which resulted in the formation of the personality I. All the manifested qualities in the tune, hearing, and attributes of all the atoms combined together form my physical body, which expresses the entity of myself. When finally the end comes to this physical body, termed as death, all the different parts go, and merge with the great void as atomic entities. Scriptural explanations and their annotations, often guided by our egoism, create all the confusion, and make us talk of rise and fall in the spiritual scale. These imaginary concepts make us distracted and disheartened in our onward progress. Only guideline is the infallible direction of the essence of truth of the creation. There is no place for imagination in it.